All right, guys, we're going to check out a micro brand that's based in the US, actually California, Huntington Beach area. So they're assembled there, but the parts are obviously sourced elsewhere. This is the Dumoreau DM01. And I'm starting with a wrist check because, yeah, I kind of have a format, but not really, so I can do whatever I want. And I just sized it and I put it on wrist. So I'm like, well, there's no sense taking it off my wrist just to do the video and then put it back on my wrist. I'll start off with it on my wrist. So here it is, integrated bracelet, butterfly clasp, excellent H-link, and extreme tapering. And check out the light play on that thing with all the flat brushed surfaces. The finishing on it is very nice, very deep brushing on this. Simple three-hander, no date, beautiful blue dial, unique shape, including the crown. We're going to do some close-ups of that. Let me pop it off wrist here real quick. Simple double pusher. You do have to go one side before the other. It has this little centerpiece here. So there's that. I'm going to get the important stuff right out of the way, guys. This thing's only $395. So yeah, deal $395, right? Let's look at the paperwork that came with it real quick. I just want to share with you because two things, and I don't know if I was supposed to show this or not, but whatever. The founder actually communicated directly with me. Carlo, thank you for sending this over and for the donation to the channel. Here's some of his credentials. Here's the specs. And you know, more often than not, the specs aren't exactly what I measure on the watch when it comes to the measurement. Obviously, the other stuff, yes, it's going to have the Miyota 9039 movement, and there's 42 hour, 24 joules, 4 hertz, all that good stuff. BGW9, Sapphire, that stuff easy to just take note of. I need that information, right? But when they actually give the size, a lot of the times the size is not accurate. But when they include their graph, their design sheet here, and they actually show, pretty convincing argument here that their measurements are actually correct, that they took, because this is their design drawings. I mean, I measured it anyway, and guess what? The measurements are right. So again, future exchanges with companies in the future hopefully will mimic that. I like that. Anyway, that's enough of my own little personal agenda. The watch is 38.6 millimeter wide, 46.72. I can use these exact numbers because that's what they gave and that's what I measured, so why not use them, right? 46.72 lug to lug, only 10.4 millimeter thick. Obviously, that's part of the watch design, but you can only make a thin watch when you have a thin movement, and the Miyota 9039 movement is thin. The bracelet essentially is like almost 23 millimeter and tapers. Look how much it tapers. It tapers down to 16 millimeter, and at the clasp, because the bracelet is the clasp. So I love a nice sharp taper on the bracelets. And then the crown, depending on how you measure it, because it is kind of square-ish. I mean, it's not square, it's kind of bulged out square and signed, but it's like 5 or 6 millimeter, depending which angle you give that. Check out the deep scalping on the side of these cases. Isn't that nuts? It's just like completely dadoed out. It's very cool. I'm sure you might end up with a little bit of gunk in there, here and there, occasionally, depending on, your wear and your use. Should be easy to clean. It's 100-meter water resist screw down crown. Just rinse it off. Maybe take a toothbrush to it and knock the gunk out. No big deal. Beautiful blue dial. Check out that grid pattern on there. There is one other colorway. And these are, don't freak out when I say limited edition. It's not like they're limited editions. It's just, this is how many he's making. There's 150 of the blue, and there's only 50 of the salmon dial. It's not really a limited edition, guys. When you're dealing with micro brands, they do small batch anyway. That's just the way it works. One thing that's interesting to point out, everything on this watch is like proprietary for this design. He spec'd it out, right? Like even the RIA inside, that has to be matched perfectly to fit in there with this dial shape and everything. Those are just like the little details that if something wasn't right on it, we would notice. But the fact that they're right on this, we don't notice. And I actually kind of noticed that. I know it's funky, but it's the little things. When you do a close-up on watches, you start to notice some of the little things. Nice polished handset, excellent BGW9 lume on the indices and the handset, minus the second hand, of course. And very simple text on this. The branding and then automatic. What more do you need to know, right? All the other information can be put on the back, which it is on the back of this, and I'll show that. Look how deep that brushing is on that. Very good brushing. Nice sharp transition to the polished around the bezel, and then just a polished line on the case, following through on the bracelet. Of course, we're going to show the bracelet because when you do an integrated bracelet, the bracelet needs to be correct, and it is definitely correct on this. Nice hardware on this. If I could figure out, I don't know if I can show the hardware up close or not. Look at the hardware. Nice pins, centered slot, and the threads are towards the top of it instead of on the front. I don't know what that means in the manufacturing process, but I can tell you taking the screw pins in and out is a lot nicer feeling when the threads are up at the top like that. So movement info, sapphire crystal, assembled in California, water resist 100 meter, and of course stainless steel. Case back held on with 4 screws. I still can't get over the price for this watch. $395. It's unique. Sure, it looks similar to a lot of other watches that you can probably name it down in the description if you want. I don't know them. I don't have them. I don't operate in that world, but I do operate in the sub $500 world for a lot of watches just to have fun with, and this one definitely meets that criteria. You know, is this going to be your one and only sport watch if you're buying micro brands? No. If you're into micro brands, you're trying a bunch of them, and this maybe should be one of them. Check them out. And this is his first watch. As far as I know, this is Carlo's first watch. I can't wait to see what he does. He's got a heavy grasp on design work, that is for sure. No date only is the what I understand here. They're not going to do a date model on this one, so it keeps a nice symmetry to the dial. Let's kill the lights, check the lume on this. I think I covered everything. If you guys have any questions, chime in. Maybe I can get Carlo to chime in the comments as well. Beautiful BGW9 lume, which always works great when you have blue dial and then you have that stark white in the day, and then when the lights go out, you have that beautiful, cool blue lume on that. Well done. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next vid.